Hello and welcome to this episode of Dollars and Cents. I'm Laura Painter. In this episode, we're talking about fees you should know about and budgeting advice. So let's get started. Have you recently gone out to get a bite to eat and noticed a strange fee on your bill? That's exactly what happened to one Auburn mom after a night out to get pizza with her kids. She was surprised and reached out to me for answers. So I talked with a UC Davis economics professor to figure out what this fee was and other fees like it.
I noticed a charge on my receipt that was quite surprising, something I had never seen before.
Danny Dean, a busy mom in Auburn, recently took her kids out for a pizza dinner.
I was in such a rush that I kind of just grabbed my food, paid, and left, and I didn't notice my receipt until after I had left the restaurant.
That's when she saw this, a $4.03 charge called California Employer Mandates.
I was really thrown back by that.
Not knowing what the fee was, she took to social media to see if other people experienced it too. And it turns out Danny wasn't alone. Someone commented on her post saying, "I've noticed this trend the last few years of separating out fees from the menu price." Another person asked, "How is that even legal if they don't tell you about the fee before you order?"
Restaurants are trying to find a way to kind of, in a sense, raise prices sometimes without actually, visibly raising prices.
And they can do so through service charges like the one Danny had. Experts say these charges can be legal in California and are not new. In fact, they've been around for a few years now, mainly in big cities like LA, San Francisco, and some restaurants here in Sacramento.
The fact that it's sort of spreading is, I think, in a way indicative of this pressure of inflation kind of hitting not just big cities, but sort of hitting, suburbs and smaller towns.
I also asked a Sacramento-based hospitality lawyer about this fee. He says if implemented correctly, service charges can be a mandatory part of the bill and not something a customer could or should refuse to pay. He says, quote, "As California's legislature has continued to burden employers with more and more costs, like higher minimum wages, costs associated with mandatory training or paying for food handler cards, restaurants have struggled financially."
Kind of way sometimes to sort of raise prices, but also sort of say, hey, this is not our fault. We're not really the ones doing it, right? It's other stuff going on, whether it's, healthcare costs or pressure from minimum wages. And in general, restaurants are, run on very thin profit margins.
But if restaurants push guests too far, they could risk losing them. For customers like Danny, it's the lack of transparency that's really frustrating.
I think that's the thing I don't like the most. I should be aware of what it is, and I should have the option whether I want to proceed with that purchase or not.
And just a reminder, if you didn't catch it, starting July 1st, restaurants in California won't be allowed to have hidden fees, but they could increase prices to make up for it. Making sense of all the fees you have to pay is one way we stand for you at ABC 10. So now let's talk those junk fees. Those annoying extra fees tacked on to some purchases like hotel rooms, concert tickets, and credit cards? Now some of those fees are capped due to the federal government, which is working to lower credit card late payment fees. I talked with an expert who says it's a start, but some big financial pitfalls haven't gone away.
It is good news for consumers.
Just this spring, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau placed a cap on credit card companies for their late fees, capping late fees at $8. That's down from an industry standard of $32.
For anybody who's experienced, carrying credit card debt and then not being able to pay it on time, incurring something around like a $30+ fee really hurts.
Why the change? The Bureau says late fees cost American households more than $14 billion a year. It says this new regulation will save consumers more than $10 billion annually. It's all part of the Biden administration's war on junk fees.
What was happening was that credit card companies were just kind of almost carte blanche, raising them, not necessarily connected to inflation, but raising them until they got exorbitant.
But be warned, a lower late fee doesn't mean you should be late. Even though the late fee amount has gone down from around $32 to $8, you're also still responsible for paying interest. So let's say you buy whatever this thing is online for $100 with your credit card and you don't pay it off on time. You could be charged an $8 late fee plus 22% interest on that $100 price. Meaning you could spend $130 on this thingamabob, $30 more than you did when you first bought it. And that cost will only go up the more months you don't pay your bill.
There's a lot of permission that we can give ourselves. But we want to remember the overall impact of late payments on credit. It's not just about the fees, it's also about the credit score.
Late payments play a big role in your credit score. NerdWallet says a payment more than 30 days past due can knock as many as 100 points off your credit score.
I would recommend that everybody kind of comes back to basics, takes another look at all their income and all their expenses, getting re-grounded in what it is they're working with month to month, and understanding that every time they choose to put something on credit, it's something that has added consequences.
For our last story, have you heard about loud budgeting? It's a personal finance trend made popular by social media. The point is to make better choices by sharing your own spending and savings goals. I talked once again with Derek Stemmel from UC Davis to understand more about the trend and how it just might work for you.
There is a recent trend going around social media called loud budgeting.
People going online, being vocal, and making a strong statement, all in the name of saving money.
Quiet luxury is out. Loud budgeting is in.
It's not I don't have enough, it's I don't want to spend.
Broadcasting your finances by loud budgeting might be just the thing to help you rein in your spending.
If you're going to be more accountable, you're more likely then to follow through. And so maybe you're more likely to achieve your financial goals.
Loud budgeting can help you resist impulse buys.
The more you're aware of these things, right, the more likely you'll make better and more informed decisions.
Many of you are struggling with the high cost of living and feeling the pinch just about everywhere. For example, the price of eggs and gas are up again, and even fast food's not as cheap as you remember it to be. Navigating these price hikes can be daunting.
We really know that, especially for younger people, their financial literacy rates tend to be low.
And so this loud budgeting trend that's taking off with Gen Z, people in their teens and 20s, could help them later in life.
The extent that those younger generations are more kind of aware of finances in general, might help them more towards that path of financial literacy, which is so important for making kind of responsible financial decisions.
But don't get carried away and share too much. Remember, you're not only sharing your spending plans with family and friends, but also strangers online.
Maybe a better way to go is to start with your friends and family, the people you actually know in your day-to-day life, and kind of see to the extent how that works out before you start sharing everything on the internet.
Thank you for watching this episode of Dollars and Cents. I'm Laura Painter. If you want to watch more features just like this one, check out our ABC 10 Plus app. There you'll find the latest newscasts and headlines, and stay up to date on the weather and see all the great work and stories we tell here at ABC 10. Thank you again for watching. See you next time.